Okay, so for the consolidation activity, here are the directions. It says determine the x-intercept and the y-intercept for each linear equation below. Write the intercepts as coordinate pairs. Then use these points to calculate the slope of a line. So remember, to find the x-intercept, okay, here's our coordinate. We have our x value and our y value, okay? To find the x-intercept, the y value has to be 0. Okay, so basically, plug in 0 here, this disappears. We have 5x equals negative 15. So what times x, or I'm sorry, 5 times something equals negative 15. So x is going to be negative 3. Okay, and we can just go all the way down right here. Place a 0 here. And remember that we're going to do the same thing for the y-intercept. For the y-intercept, instead of y being 0, for the y-intercept, x is 0. So for all of these, it's going to be just the opposite. Okay, and you'll continue down this way. Let's go ahead and do this one. So if we plug in 0 for x, this disappears. And we have negative 3y equals negative 15. So what is the value of y? Okay, remember, this is going to disappear. Negative 3y equals negative 15. What's the value of y? If you said 5, you are correct. Okay, now to find the slope of these 2 points, because we found the x-intercept and the y-intercept, let's go ahead and do the slope. The slope is y2 minus y1. So here's y2 minus y1. So I have 5 minus 0 on top. And on the bottom, I have x2 minus x1. So here's x2, which is 0, minus x1, which is negative 3. So I have 5 minus 0, that is 5. And anytime you have a double negative, we're going to change that to a plus. So our slope is 5/3. Okay, let's check out letter B. To find the x-intercept, the y value is 0, so this disappears. If this disappears, then it's just x equals 8. So that's going to be 8. And over here, x is 0, so that disappears, and I have 4y equals 8. So the value of y has to be 2, because 4 times 2 will equal 8. Okay, so then you will do the same thing to find the slope. You got y2, which this is y2, 2 minus 0. And now we have the x values on the bottom. So x2, which is 0, minus x1, which is 8. All right, so on top, I have 2 minus 0. That's 2. These are really simple problems, but it's really easy to get these confused, especially when you have like double negatives and such things like that. But if you stay organized, it's just real simple math. 2 minus 0. 0 minus 8 is a negative 8. And we can reduce that. If we divide this by 2, we get 1. Divide this by 2, we get 4. And we have a positive divided by a negative, which is a negative. Okay? And it's a little more proper to write the negative up on top or even on the side than to just have it on the bottom. Okay, we'll go over one more problem, and then you guys can go ahead and work on this on your own. Okay, so here the y value is 0, so this right here is going to disappear and have negative 3x is equal to 9. Okay, this is going to disappear. Negative 3x is equal to 9. What's the value of x? Negative 3 times something equals 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 equals 9. Right? And then over here, remember the x value is going to be 0. And we have to find the y value for the y-intercept. Okay? That's what we're doing. We're finding the y value when we're looking for the y-intercept. So x is 0. This is going to disappear. So I have 2y equals 9. Okay? So I'm going to divide by 2, and I end up with, divide this by 2, I get y. Divide this by 2, I get 9 over 2. I'm hesitating a little bit because I'm not sure if they want us to use decimals or keep it as fractions. I don't see anything here that says to keep it as a fraction or a decimal, so I'm just going to leave it as is. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my slope formula. So y2 minus y1, so I have 9 halves minus 0 over x2, which is right here, minus x1, which is a negative 3. So again, I'm going to have that double negative there. Okay, so on top I have, I'm just going to put 4.5. 9 halves is the same thing as 4.5. And minus 3, remember that this changes to a positive, so it's going to be 3. And if you divide this out, you will end up with 1.5. Or, if they want it in fraction form, 3 over 2. 3 over 2 is the same thing as 1.5. Okay, so that's our consolidation activity. Let's go ahead and move on to number 2. It says, consider the linear equation 3x minus 2y equals negative 6. Determine the x-intercept and the y-intercept and use them to graph the line and the slope of the line. Okay, so this is where we're going to find our x-intercept and our y-intercept. So for our x-intercept, y has to be 0. And this is going to be vice versa here. All right, so let's find our x-intercept. So when y is 0, that means this is going to disappear. So I have 3x equals negative 6. What's the value of x? Think about that. 3x equals negative 6. X has to be negative 2. Okay? And for the other one, if we plug in 0 here, this disappears, and I have negative 2y equals negative 6. What is the value of y? Okay, think about that. Negative 2y equals negative 6. What is the value of y? The value is 3. Okay, all you need is 2 points to make a graph. So let's go to negative 2 and 0. So here's negative 2, 0. The other point is 0, 3. And once you have 2 points, you can make a line. And we can do 2 things. We can either, to find the slope, let's see. Yep, they want us to find the slope. So you can either count and go 1, 2, 3, and then over 2, 1, 2. Or you can do what we did on the last page, the last problem, where you have y2 minus y1. So 3 minus 0 over x2 minus x1. So 0 minus negative 2. 3 minus 0 is 3. And then remember, we have this double negative, so it's going to be a positive 2. Okay, and that's the same as over here. Okay, and that concludes our consolidation activity. Okay, you do have homework. Let me double check right here. Yep, okay, so you do have homework. It will be right here, page 447. And this is a good way to practice how to find the x and y intercepts. Okay, notice we had simple problems like this, 2x equals 8. This is good practice. Right away, you should be able to say, okay, this is 4, okay, and be able to write that in. Here, you should be able to figure out what x is, okay? Negative 6 times what equals negative 30? Well, this would be a positive 5. Okay, so good luck with your homework. Work hard, work well. Be sure to review the video if you need to, and have a good day, guys.